Hi, I'm Dr. Jack West, medical oncologist in Seattle, Washington. At the World Conference on Lung Cancer, we saw the results of the PACIFIC trial, which was very important and transformed our management of stage 3 lung cancer, but now we have overall survival results for that study. I'd like to provide a bit of a background on it and then, of course, highlight the new results that we've just learned. Here you could see the schema for the study. It was 713 patients with locally advanced unresectable stage 3 non-small cell lung cancer who had received at least 2 cycles of platinum combination chemotherapy in combination with concurrent chest irradiation to a definitive dose, and patients who did not demonstrate progression or a decline in performance status would go on with a 2-to-1 randomization to durvalumab administered every 2 weeks for up to a year or placebo on that same interval. Treatment had to start within 6 weeks after completion of the chemo radiation, and the primary endpoints were progression-free survival and overall survival. Now at ESMO 2017, we saw the results in terms of progression-free survival, which were dramatically beneficial with consolidation durvalumab, and that really led to a change in our standard of care and an FDA approval for durvalumab earlier in 2017, but we hadn't yet seen overall survival. Now, at Toronto, what we saw was updated progression-free survival, and I'm showing that here. And you can see that this still holds up as a very dramatic benefit. You could see that the hazard ratio is 0.51. The median PFS is 5.6 months with the placebo arm, and that's the time from randomization. Durvalumab arm, it's 17.2 months. And when we look at the actual curves, you could see that using a landmark like 18 months into it, the progression-free survival is 26.7% with the placebo arm, and it is nearly double that at 49.5% with consolidation durvalumab. What's more impressive, at least to those of us who really hold overall survival as the critical aspect in someone who we're treating with curative intent, are the results in terms of overall survival and the curves you can see here. This was published with a new New England Journal of Medicine publication that coincided with the presentation. You could see that the hazard ratio for overall survival is 0.68, and that there's a difference of just over 10% even 2 years into the study. Now, obviously, these patients are still being followed, and most of them are just past the 2-year mark, and what we don't know yet is whether these will represent true cures and about a 10% improvement and a real plateau in the curve, but it looks like it may emerge that way. Importantly, we are definitely not seeing that just after that period of consolidation has ended, that there is some clear convergence and the patients on the durvalumab arm are falling back toward the placebo arm. That's not the pattern we're seeing, and it suggests that there really may be a sustained survival benefit. Turning to the time to death or distant metastases, you can see that this really holds up very well. We had seen an earlier version of these curves at ESMO 2017, but here you could see a dramatic separation of the curves that starts early and is sustained over the entire period of follow-up. Now, the subset analyses are really where I think there's some controversy and open questions. And the key points to, I think, focus on are the patients with EGFR mutation positive disease and the patients with PD-L1 negative tumors. So let's start with the patients with EGFR mutations. Now, it's not standard to test for this in stage 3 disease, but in patients where it was known, and this was a small subset, there really is not a clear benefit. And we know that for stage 4 disease, patients receiving immunotherapy as at least monotherapy who have an EGFR mutation don't tend to be major beneficiaries. At the same time, we also have some concern that patients who have received a checkpoint inhibitor and then get an EGFR TKI, say for relapse, may be subject to a much higher risk of pneumonitis. So there's more to be learned about this, but there are certainly thoughtful people who are quite hesitant about recommending consolidation durvalumab in patients with an EGFR mutation. Now, let's turn to the patients with low PD-L1, and in the revised analysis, this post-hoc analysis, looking at a threshold of less than 1% expression, essentially negative, you could see that these patients don't appear to get a benefit from durvalumab. But the question here is whether we should exclude patients who were included in the trial that was overwhelmingly positive based on a subset analysis. And I think it's really a debatable question. My own view is that I am not inclined to exclude patients from consideration of a potential therapy with major survival benefit based on a post-hoc subset analysis, but I think it is worth carefully discussing these issues with them, perhaps especially the patients with an EGFR mutation for whom there really may be no benefit, and it may be a harm when we factor in the potential for increased risk of pneumonitis with subsequent EGFR TKI therapy. So I think this is really debatable, and I know that in Europe there is not an approval for consolidation durvalumab for patients with tumor expression for PD-L1 that is negative, but I think it is something that we need to get more information on, and we will need to continue to debate. I welcome your thoughts and comments, and I hope you'll like, comment, and subscribe here. We'll have more interesting results to discuss in subsequent videos. Thanks very much.